Is the rally in mega cap tech stocks finished? Many investors and traders are wondering this right now, and for good reason. Mega cap tech stocks have been an absolute rampage this year. Microsoft has spiked 33% higher in 2023. Apple has gained 35%, which is no small feat for a $2.8 trillion company. And Nvidia has ridden the AI hype wave to 114% year to date gain. All told, the New York Stock Exchange FANG index, which invests in or which tracks the performance of some of the companies I just mentioned, as well as Meta, Amazon, Google, and Tesla. It's up 60% year to date. So that's a huge move. And at this point, a lot of noob investors are wondering if they should jump in these high flying names. There's a little bit of FOMO happening right now, but we don't think that's the move. We think you want to exercise some patience. As you can see here with the New York Stock Exchange FANG index, we can see it's approaching some higher time frame resistance. So at this level, we wouldn't be surprised if some buyers stepped in. Also on the daily, which we don't have pictured right here. We're looking at the weekly. But if you were to pull up the daily and look at the RSI on this index is about 72. So it's overbought. At this point, after the run it's had, I don't think it should surprise anyone if these mega cap tech stocks were to cool off a bit or even pull back. And if we do pull back from here, just be forewarned that the bears are likely going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to be calling for a top once again. They'll probably tell you it's all over. It's time to short everything into the ground. We don't think that's necessarily the right move either. We think it's more likely that we could see some money rotate into other areas of the market. A couple areas of the market that we're watching closely are industrials and consumer discretionary stocks. We also think you should keep an eye on growth stocks. So when we look at growth stocks were obviously red hot following the post-COVID crash and subsequent injection of all this excess liquidity by the Fed, all the money printing that the Fed did. Got sucked in a lot of new investors, and a lot of those new investors just naturally gravitated to growth stocks. A lot of them, went all in on ARK and the companies that Kathy Wood invests in. But that time's come and gone, and right now, a lot of investors and traders simply just don't care about growth stocks. They're not on a lot of people's radar, but we think they should be. So we look at ARK here. ARK is the benchmark for a lot of the benchmark that a lot of people use when they just want to get a sense of how growth stocks are doing. And we can see here that despite all these headlines and concerns about recession and the debt ceiling, and there's still some people who are worried that inflation is going to remain sticky, we can see that ARK has stopped falling. It stopped falling in December of last year. And we can also see that it's starting to look a little bit more constructive. Its 30-week moving average has stopped falling. It's actually back above it, and it was able to close above the 10-week moving average last week as well. So overall, we're not seeing the sort of weakness that we saw in ARK for much of last year. Growth stocks in general are looking much better. We're actually seeing even more strength when we look at the ARK Innovation FinTech ETF. So this is one of ARK's ETFs that invests in some payment stocks and some digital banking stocks. I think they also might invest in Coinbase as well. But overall, this is looking a lot more constructive than the ARK flagship fund. We can see its 30-week moving average stopped falling a few months ago, flattened out, and is starting to turn a little higher here. We can also see its 10-week moving average. It's been trading, chopping around that for past several weeks and was able to close above it last week. When we look at the daily on this one, we can see that its 200-day moving average stopped falling a few months ago and is flattened out. So overall, this is looking like bottoming price action for the ARK F ETF. But we're even seeing much stronger charts and setups when we look at some individual ETFs that are sort of outside Kathy Wood's bubble. So this is DraftKings. DraftKings is a name that bottomed back in May of last year, came back and put a double bottoming pattern and rose out of that, put in a base and has since broken out. And just overall, really strong price action from DraftKings, one of the stronger stocks in the entire market. You can see that's above this 30-week moving average, 10-week moving average, acted as support back in here, but had this strong breakout. In the past couple of weeks, it's just been trading sideways and consolidating. This recent breakout. So overall, really constructive price action. We could see this one trading sideways for a little bit longer, or it could just get up and go here. When we look at the daily, we could see that it's back above the the 10-day moving average and also filled this gap down here. So overall, pretty constructive price action from DraftKings, but that's just one of the names we like. Globally Online is another growth stock that we like a lot here. We could see that it bottomed back in May of last year, putting a higher low here, consolidated a little bit, and just starting to break out of this huge base now. So this one looks like it's ready to go. It actually closed this past week at the highest weekly close since March of last year. So overall, this one looks bottom. It looks like it's about to begin a new uptrend. So definitely a name to keep an eye on. Double Verify is another name that is on our radar right now. So once again, this is another stock that bottomed ahead of the indexes. It's bottomed back in May of last year when the indexes didn't bottom out until September of October of 2022. So just ahead of schedule. Its basing process is more mature than what we're seeing out of the indexes. So we could see here that it put in another higher low here on the weekly. A little choppy name, but if you can stomach some volatility, this one looks pretty good if it can start to break out of this space. So DV, definitely a name to watch. Weave, another really strong name. Once again, this is a name that bottomed well ahead of the indexes in June of last year. Came back, higher low, a little bit of consolidation, was able to flip those 30-week and 10-week moving averages and really just change the character type move here. Broke out on heavy volume, was able to close last week at the highest price, highest weekly close since February of last year. So just very, very constructive price action. This one's a little overbought on the daily, a little extended, so it might take a couple weeks of consolidation before it begins its next leg up. But overall, this one's looking super, super strong. So Weave Communications, definitely one to watch. And then the last one we're going to look at is Toast. So this is a company that helps restaurants with point of sale and online orders and that sort of stuff. So again, we like this one because it began its bottoming process back in May of last year. It hasn't broken out yet, so it's still technically in its accumulation base building phase. But if it can start to emerge out of this base, which it looks like it's starting to do, we're starting to see some higher buying volume pour in. It can start to break out of here. Then I think this one has the potential to join some of the other names we discussed in this quick video. So I think there's a strong possibility that this name enters an uptrend pretty soon here. So definitely a name to keep an eye on. But yeah, overall, I think the takeaway from this video is, watch those mega cap tech stocks. If they start to pull back or consolidate, just, you want to monitor them because they have such a huge impact on the overall market. But if it looks like a constructive pullback, maybe look for other areas of the market where that money could rotate into. And one area we like in particular, these growth stocks, these beaten down growth stock names. So yeah, that's it for today. Hope you found this video informative. Thanks.